Welcome to this month's edition of the Shurley English Workshop Series featuring sentence blueprints for successful writing. Teaching students how to write effectively isn't a simple task, but what if you could teach them a simple, logical way to plan and compose grammatically correct and vivid sentences, employing all the essential English composition skills at the same time? Shurley English has just the tool, and it's called a sentence blueprint. Sentence blueprints are an effective way to increase written communication skills while providing easy steps for students to demonstrate their knowledge of the effective writing traits at the sentence level. Today, I will provide you with the resources you need to retool and revamp your students' writing skills. When we talk about how words and sentences work, we are talking about grammar. Learning grammar helps students understand how words in a sentence work together to make sense. When a carpenter builds a house, they follow a blueprint or building plan to build the house just right. Just as a carpenter follows a blueprint for building, a Shurley English writer follows a blueprint for writing. Today, I will show you how it's done. As with anything related to language arts, sentence blueprints are taught in Shurley English following an action plan for success. This sensible plan of action helps you provide the instruction students need to become competent, confident communicators. Here's how it works. The first part of the action plan is to build competence. Competence means having the knowledge and skill to do something well. There are two requirements to build competence. First, to acquire knowledge, students must learn the concepts, principles, and information about the subject through education or training. Students must also learn the skills necessary to use knowledge proficiently. Skills are the things about a subject that allow you to perform certain tasks with proficiency. The second part of the action plan is to build confidence. Confidence is the feeling of self-assurance in one's own abilities. To build students' confidence, there is one main requirement. To build confidence, students must practice, practice, practice. Correctly repeating or practicing the knowledge and skills they have learned to perform certain tasks with proficiency is the main way to increase the feeling or consciousness of confidence. Teaching students to become competent, confident communicators is your ultimate goal, and the Shurley English Action Plan will help you achieve it. During today's presentation, I will show you how to apply this action plan to sentence blueprints. Let's begin by taking a look at the unique features of the curriculum. It's important for you to understand how these features work together to help students easily make the connection between grammar, skills, and writing. Today, we will look at the first three features: Shurley English jingles, the question and answer flow, and sentence blueprints. I will show you how the first two features spiral together to provide a foundation for sentence composition. We call this feature sentence blueprints. Let's begin with feature number 1, Shurley English jingles. Jingles teach students grammar definitions in a fun and effective way. They help students remember key grammatical terms and definitions using jingle form. Students learn to sing or chant these definitions using rhythm, rhyme, and sometimes movement. Shurley English jingles spiral throughout the curriculum and eventually help students use critical thinking during sentence analysis. Opportunities to recite jingles are built into the curriculum so that students can eventually memorize them and learn to apply them readily during sentence analysis and writing. One of the first jingles students will learn is the sentence jingle. A teacher may choose to sing or chant the jingles. It will always be up to you. Remember, it doesn't matter how you do the jingles, it's that you do the jingles. Today, I'm going to simply chant them for you during this presentation. I'll model the first stanza, and then I'd like for you to join in with me on the second stanza. Ready? A sentence is complete when 5 simple rules it meets. It has a subject, and a verb, and it makes sense with every word. Add a capital letter and a punctuation mark. And now our sentence has all its parts. But remember, subject and verb and complete sense with a capital letter and an N mark too. Our sentence is complete, and now we're through. As students start to memorize the jingles, they will be able to refer to them as needed without having to look them up in a book. Let's continue. The second unique feature of Shurley English is known as the question and answer flow. This grammar-related strategy teaches students to label and classify a sentence using a consistent step-by-step process. Allow me to show you how it works. Students learn that the question and answer flow is a series of questions and answers used to analyze a sentence. Jingles provide the background knowledge necessary to competently locate and label the core parts of the sentence first, before labeling the rest of the sentence. For each word, students will ask the question, name the word, identify its job, and then label it using a distinct order of operations. The teacher's manual provides a script to help you guide your students through the question and answer flow. All you have to do is follow it with fidelity. Students learn to address the most basic parts of a sentence first, the subject and the verb. Then, one at a time, additional parts of speech are added to the question and answer flow. Before you know it, students have a solid understanding of how words work together to build effective, vivid sentences. Parts of speech are the building blocks for writing. Let's take a look at how the question and answer flow unfolds. The lesson will begin with jingle time, and students will learn the most basic parts of a sentence first, the subject, noun, and the verb. They will recite the noun and verb jingles and then proceed to the lesson. During the grammar time lesson, students will learn more about nouns and verbs. They will also learn how to locate both of them in a sentence using the question and answer flow. To classify a subject noun, students must ask a subject question, either who or what. They will only ask the question who if the subject is a person. Everything else will ask the question what. Once they ask the subject question, they will name the subject of the sentence and identify it as the subject noun. Students will learn to label the subject noun by writing capital S, capital N above the word. To classify the verb, students will go through the 4-step process. First, they will ask the verb question, what is being said about the subject? Then, they will answer the question by saying the verb aloud. Afterwards, they will label the verb using its abbreviation, which is a capital V. Teaching your students how to use the question and answer flow is easy. Your teacher's manual will provide you with the teaching script for every sentence. All you have to do is follow the script with fidelity so your students will learn the steps of the question and answer flow correctly. Let's go through the steps to classify this sentence together. Ready? Friends played. Who played? Friends, subject noun. What is being said about friends? Friends played. Verb. Notice that in addition to the question and answer flow, the complete sentence is labeled correctly at the end of the script. The labeled sentence will always be provided in the teacher's manual, so you will feel confident about the concepts you are teaching. The curriculum will go on to teach students how to label and classify all 8 parts of speech, beginning with jingle time, followed by a grammar time lesson that explains how to locate and label each part of speech in a sentence using the question and answer flow. In addition, students learn to address several skills within a sentence during skill time. A few of these skills become a routine part of the question and answer flow. Labeling and classifying the sentence pattern is one example. After the words in the sentence are classified, they will learn to immediately label the pattern. Students learn that a pattern 1 sentence contains a subject, noun, and verb. The question and answer flow will teach them to say, subject, noun, verb, pattern 1, as they write the correct abbreviations on the line provided. Allow me to demonstrate a sample pattern 1 sentence containing this step. I will also demonstrate how students are taught to label and classify additional parts of speech. To begin, students will read the sentence aloud and then use the Q&A flow strategy to label and classify its parts. The question and answer flow sounds like this. The 2 new friends played happily outside today. Who played happily outside today? Friends. Subject, noun. What is being said about friends? Friends played. Verb. Played how? Happily. Adverb. Played where? Outside. Adverb. Played when? Today. Adverb. What kind of friends? New. Adjective. How many friends? 2. Adjective. The. Article adjective. Subject, noun, verb, pattern 1, skill check. As you can see, Shurley English never leaves anything behind to add new information. Grammar concepts continue to scaffold so that students can master sentence composition. If you need additional information about jingles or the question and answer flow, go to our Shurley English YouTube channel to locate helpful videos. You should know that Shurley English teaches 7 sentence patterns in a very logical way during grammar time. All grade levels begin with the noun-verb pattern called pattern 1, and then logically and sequentially learn additional patterns according to the scope and sequence. Students will learn that all sentences have a subject and a verb, but some sentences do not make complete sense without additional pieces added to the core. As students learn about various patterns, sentence structure knowledge increases. Once students understand the parts of speech and the question and answer flow, they are ready to move to unique feature number 3, sentence blueprints. Grammar is the study of how sentences are built, and sentence blueprints teach students to compose sentences in a logical way. This feature is a strategic tool that will help students plan and compose grammatically correct and vivid sentences, employ all essential English composition skills, and demonstrate their knowledge of effective writing traits at the sentence level. Sentence blueprints are the first transition into writing. Writing a sentence from a sentence blueprint will help students make the connection between parts of speech and sentence structure. This unique feature teaches students to design and write original sentences by selecting and organizing grammar labels with corresponding word choices that make sense and follow a particular pattern. Then, in order to expand and improve the original sentence, students are taught to use word choice, revision strategies to write a revised sentence. Let me show you how it works. Look at the example of a sentence blueprint. On the left side of each box, you can see the word label. Labels can be assigned by the teacher or designed by the students. Using a reverse approach to the question and answer flow, students will fill in their word choices for each box as they construct their original sentence. Allow me to use this blueprint to demonstrate. Students begin by determining the core parts of the sentence first. To come up with the subject noun, the student must choose to ask either who or what. This student asked what. The subject noun word choice this student came up with was the word ponies, and they wrote it beneath the SN label. Next, the student has come up with a verb by asking the verb question. What is being said about ponies? Ponies? Pranced was their word choice. and they wrote it beneath the verb label. The student must follow the order of the question and answer flow and move to the right. The student can see they need to come up with 3 adverbs. For the first adverb, they asked, pranced how? They chose to write the word eagerly beneath the adverb label. For the next adverb, the student went back to the verb and asked, pranced where? They chose to use the word nearby to answer the question, and they wrote the word beneath the second adverb label. For the last adverb, the students decided to go back to the verb and ask, pranced when? The word they selected was the adverb today, and they wrote it beneath the last adverb label. The student has learned to go in reverse order when they get to the end mark. Looking ahead, they can see that they must come up with 2 adjectives and an article adjective. For the first adjective, the student went to the subject noun and asked the adjective question, what kind of ponies? Young was the word they chose, and they wrote it beneath the adjective label. For the next adjective label, they chose a different adjective question. They asked, how many ponies? 2 was their word choice, and they wrote it beneath the adjective label. The last label they must use to determine a word choice for is an article adjective. For this sentence, the student chose the article adjective the, and they wrote it beneath the article adjective label. The original sentence says, the 2 young ponies pranced eagerly nearby today. Think of the higher order thinking skills necessary to construct the sentence. This student used his or her knowledge and comprehension of the parts of speech and applied them to construct the sentence. The student also had to analyze, synthesize, and evaluate to make sure the words made sense and fit each blueprint label. After writing their sentence from the sentence blueprint, students are asked in exercise 2 to rewrite the sentence in complete sentence form. Students are also asked to verify that they have the 5 parts of a complete sentence by checking each box at the bottom of the page. They must verify that the sentence has a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence, a subject noun, a verb, complete sense, and an end mark at the end of the sentence. After the original sentence has been written, students will be asked to write a revised sentence. Revising means to strengthen content, and the first way to strengthen content is to look for ways to strengthen words in the sentence using word choice strategies. It is easier to look critically at each word to see if there's a better word choice to express a thought after the sentence has been written. Students will be taught to go through each word of their original sentence to think about changes or improvements they might want to make, beginning with word choice strategies like synonym changes, antonym changes, complete word changes, added words, deleted words, and sometimes no change at all for some words. It's completely up to them. Take a look at the sentence blueprint that has been designed to help students learn to make word choice revisions. You can see the original sentence written beneath each label. The next line provides a space for students to revise words in their sentence. They are also taught to use the line below that to abbreviate the revision strategy they used. Here's what a revised sentence might look like. Notice the word choice changes and the abbreviations for the word choice strategy used to revise each word. Students are allowed to make their word choice revisions in any order. Afterwards, in exercise 2, they must rewrite their revised sentence and then double check to be sure they have included the 5 parts of a complete sentence. Let's go over the revisions from left to right. There's no change to the article adjective the. 3 is a word change from to. Old is an antonym word change from young. The word horses is a synonym for ponies. Strutted is a synonym for pranced. Proudly is a complete word change for eagerly. And around is a word change from nearby. The final revision this student made was to delete the adverb at the end of the sentence. Writing revised sentences enables students to look at their sentences more critically and to check for ways to improve the sentence through word choices. Valuable references and resources are readily available to assist you and your students along the way, like these teaching and student tips. Let's take a closer look at student tips now. Student tip number 1 says, use your vocabulary words, power words, a thesaurus, and a dictionary to help you write your original and revised sentences. Tip number 2 says that after a sentence is written, it is much easier to look critically at each word to see if you can think of a better word to express your thought. Tip number 3 says that as you revise, you may make many changes or only a few. Knowing the revision strategies gives you more flexibility as you work to improve your sentence. And finally, student tip number 4 says that as you revise your original sentence, keep these 3 things in mind. Antonyms and word changes will change your sentence's meaning. Synonyms and no changes could keep the meaning of the original sentence. Added words and deleted words can change the meaning of your sentence or keep it the same, depending on the words you choose to add or delete. Always remember that Shurley English is here to support you and your students throughout the journey. Our curriculum will provide step-by-step instructions to give students the knowledge, skills, and practice they need to increase sentence fluency. As the classroom teacher, you can trust Shurley English to help guide students in the right direction. Sentence blueprints are an amazing way to help your students plan and compose grammatically correct and vivid sentences, employ all the essential English composition skills, and demonstrate their knowledge of effective writing traits at the sentence level. They'll be reminded frequently to hand in complete sentences. I hope you have enjoyed today's Shurley English Workshop Series presentation. For more information, please visit our website at www.shurley.com. You can also learn more about the unique features of Shurley English and other topics by visiting our YouTube channel to check out our lineup of Shurley English videos.